Safeguarding and promoting the welfare of children is everyone's responsibility. Everyone who comes into contact with children and their families has a role to play. In order to fulfil this responsibility effectively, all practitioners should make sure their approach is child-centred. This means that they should consider at all times what is in the best interests of the child. Hi everyone, I'm Natalie from MyProgression, and you're watching part 1 of 3 on safeguarding. This video will take you through what is safeguarding, why do we need it, and your legal responsibility. Now, the first part of your legal responsibility is to ensure you understand what safeguarding is, and we'll do that in this video series, so make sure you watch all 3 videos. No single practitioner can have a full picture of a child's needs and circumstances. If children and families are to receive the right help at the right time, everyone who comes into contact with them has a role to play in identifying concerns, sharing information, and taking prompt action. So what is safeguarding? Every child has the right to flourish, safe from harm and abuse. As educational professionals, we strive to keep our children safe and healthy. And as you know, every school has a range of policies to support all staff to do this. With this in mind, we've designed this training to help you understand the good practice of how to safeguard children and yourself. It's so important that everyone in the school knows what to look out for, how to respond to disclosures, and how to report any concerns. If you go into a school as supply staff, do you have the same safeguarding responsibilities as permanent staff? Yes, you absolutely do, but your challenge can be greater. You need to get to grips with the policies and procedures in every school you visit. It's your responsibility to make sure you keep up to date with safeguarding and child protection legislation and always act on concerns. All schools you work in should, by law, have safeguarding policies and procedures to ensure that every single child, regardless of their age, disability, gender, race, religion or belief, sex, or sexual orientation, has the right to equal protection from harm. Every school will have a designated safeguarding officer, a DSO or DSP, safeguarding person. In primary schools, it's often the head teacher who has this role. Many schools will ask you to read and sign a safeguarding policy. Some will give you a badge to wear with a summary of the policy on it, and often you'll see posters displayed. The school should make it clear to all visitors. For your own sake, if it's not obvious when you arrive at the school, make it a priority to find out about the school's policy on safeguarding and who the DSO is. Looking to enhance your skills and advance your career in education? At MyProgression, we offer expert CPD insights and career development resources to help you succeed. MyProgression is our way of giving you valuable knowledge, advice, and support for your career in education and beyond. Created by industry experts, we're here to give you the tools you need to succeed, keeping your career in motion. Our videos will take you through everything you need to ensure you can be the best educator you can be. The topics range from securing that dream job or landing that promotion with our CV writing, job interview and placement tips, to becoming a champion of the classroom with our communication series. We've created these videos with you, a busy educator, in mind. To make sure you don't miss out, see that button that says subscribe? Give that a click to keep hearing more from MyProgression. Let's start by clarifying what we mean by safeguarding. Safeguarding is the action that's taken to promote the welfare of children and protect them from harm. It means providing help and support to meet the needs of children as soon as problems emerge, protecting children from maltreatment, whether that's inside or outside the home, including online, preventing the impairment of children's mental and physical health or development, ensuring that children grow up in circumstances consistent with the provision of safe and effective care, taking action to enable all children to have the best outcomes. Child protection is a big part of the safeguarding process. It focuses on protecting individual children identified as suffering or likely to suffer from significant harm. This includes child protection procedures which tell us how to respond to concerns about a child. So why do we need to safeguard? Well, let's look back to February 2000. Victoria Colombier, aged 8, was tortured and murdered by her great-aunt and her great-aunt's boyfriend. Her death led to a public inquiry and produced major changes in child protection policies in the UK. During the abuse, Victoria was burnt with cigarettes, tied up for periods of longer than 24 hours and hit with bike chains, hammers and wires. Up to her death, the police, the Social Services Department of 4 local authorities, the National Health Service, the NSPCC and local churches all had contact with her and noted the signs of abuse. However, in what the judge in the trial following Victoria's death described as blinding incompetence, they all failed to properly investigate the case and little action was taken. The great-aunt and her boyfriend were convicted of murder and sentenced to life imprisonment. The inquiry uncovered that child protection staff missed at least 12 chances to save Victoria. Lord Laming's final report, published in January 2003, concluded that the child protection system failed as a result of lack of basic good practice by frontline staff and, most significantly, senior managers failing to take responsibility for the failings of their organisations. The report made 108 recommendations, and as a direct result, the government published its plans in 2003 in the Green Paper, Every Child Matters. This was followed by the Children's Act of 2004, which allows the creation of a national child database made up of local information hubs in 150 local authorities. Undoubtedly, the Victoria Colombier case is beyond comprehension for most people. It's tragic and unimaginable. However, child abuse is more common than some think. We don't know how many children are being abused because not all abuse is reported. But the NSPCC say that 500,000 children a year suffer abuse in the UK. So it still remains a huge concern, and we must remember that many, many children will and always will suffer in silence. As teaching professionals, we therefore need to be alert to this and act when we can to help all our children. Now, in addition to our moral responsibility to protect our children, we have a legal responsibility to ensure all of our children's rights are upheld. I will assume you already know this, but let's take some time to revisit the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. It's a legally binding international agreement setting out the civil, political, economic, social and cultural rights of every child, regardless of their race, religion or abilities. The UNCRC consists of 54 articles that set out children's rights and how governments should work together to make them available to all children. Under the terms of the Convention, governments are required to meet children's basic needs and help them reach their full potential. Central to this is the acknowledgement that every child has basic fundamental rights. These include the right to life, survival and development, to protection from violence, abuse or neglect, to an education that enables children to fulfil their potential, to be raised by or have a relationship with their parents, and to express their opinions and be listened to. If you don't safeguard and protect the children in your care, you're breaching the terms of the Convention. You are the government's representative. As I mentioned before, every child has the right to flourish, safe from harm and abuse. However, some children are more at risk than others. That's why some children will require early help. You've likely heard this recognised term, and it basically does what it says on the tin. Early help means taking action to support a child, young person or their family early on in the life of a problem, as soon as it emerges. Now, any child may benefit from early help, but all school and college staff should be particularly alert to the potential need for early help for a child who is disabled or has certain health conditions and specific additional needs, has special educational needs, whether or not they have a statutory education, health and care plan, has a mental health need, is a young carer, is showing signs of being drawn into antisocial or criminal behaviour, including gang involvement and association with organised crime groups or county lines, is frequently missing or goes missing from education, home or care, has experienced multiple suspensions, is at risk of being permanently excluded from schools, colleges and in alternative provision or a pupil referral unit, is at risk of modern slavery, trafficking, sexual and or criminal exploitation, is at risk of being radicalised or exploited, has a parent or carer in custody or is affected by parental offending, Is it a family circumstance presenting challenges for the child, such as drug and alcohol misuse, adult mental health issues and domestic abuse? Is misusing alcohol and other drugs themselves? Is at risk of so-called honour-based abuse, such as female genital mutilation or forced marriage? Or is a privately fostered child? Now, to continue learning about safeguarding, head over to video 2, which will take you through what signs you need to look out for. As I mentioned before, having a comprehensive understanding of safeguarding is a mandatory requirement when you work in education. MyProgression also allows you to prove your learning by downloading CPD certificates. See the link in the description for more information. And I'll see you in video 2. I've been Natalie from MyProgression, and let's keep your career in motion.